Good morning, everyone. It is now time for our next episode of Tiger Eye Talk. It is the first Tuesday of September. We come to you live the first Tuesday of every single month with Tiger Eye Talk and a special guest. And today, our special guest is Pastor Elaine Briefman. Thank you so much, Elaine, for being here today. To give you a little bit about Elaine, she is an author, a speaker, a licensed marriage and family therapist, and an ordained pastor who spends her days helping others be freed from imposter syndrome. Oh, wow, that's a big one. A lot of us deal with that. And self-doubt while becoming effective influencers. Her ministry, Fishing for Truth, is a unique online community, training, and mentorship program for Christian leaders to overcome imposter syndrome, promote spiritual maturity, and attain professional speaking skills and experience. Oh, wow. In her spare time, she loves reading, board games, and fishing. Lots of fishing. Oh, that sounds like so much fun. So I'm going to let Miss Elaine further introduce herself and tell you a little bit more about what she does. So go ahead, Pastor Elaine.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the opportunity to come and to share not only in my own personal journey, but really how I'm able to help other people. So it's true. I do a lot of stuff and I have a lot of history and background. And I typically introduce my story. And it starts off a little hairy, but it gets better near the end. So I tell people
Awesome.
when I was about 8 years old, my mom called me into the living room and I kind of dutifully went down the hallway. And when I got to the doorway of the living room, she was standing there and I could see behind her, my dad sitting on the couch behind the newspaper. And she turned and she looked down at me and she said, "Your brother tells me that your dad's been doing stuff to you. Is that true?" And I'm like totally freaking out because that was not what I expected. And my dad's sitting right there and I really didn't know what to say. And in that era, you didn't lie to your parents, right? So I'm like, yeah. And she turned, she looked at my dad and she says, "Is that true?" And he says, "I don't know what she's talking about." And he never looked up from the newspaper. And so we had this kind of little weird conversation and he never looked up from the newspaper. And the conversation ended and nothing ever changed. And what I realized was that my dad's lie probably had more of an impact on me than anything else. His lie created this concept in me to lie about myself. I mean, it just made me believe lies because basically he was calling me a liar, right? He's calling me a liar. And so when we're lied about or lied to, it can really damage us and make us believe lies about our self-esteem and our value and our self-worth. And it really can jack us up. And so it really jacked me up. And I did what any good jacked up person would do. I became a licensed therapist and an ordained pastor. So I became a professional codependent. And after, I went to therapy for 13 years and I don't recommend it with the same guy. It's like, if you're doing that, you're not making progress, quit. So, and 11 years of college and I was in the ministry for about 12 years and I performed professional therapy for 17 years. And what I realized is my clients were still getting stuck. And that kind of frustrated me because I thought with all this experience and knowledge and everything, that I'd be able to help them better. And I was sitting on my couch one day and I was just kind of thinking, why do people over-identify with these negative things about themselves? And they obsess about them and they're like, I can't, this is who I am. I'll never get better. And I wasn't praying or anything. I was literally just sitting there and I heard these two words, identity abuse. And I'm like, well, what is that? Because it was kind of ethereal. I would have never thought, how does your identity get abused? And those two words just would have never been put together. And I spent 3 days really thinking about if my identity was abused, what would that do to me? And just really thinking about all the things in the Diagnostic and Statistics Manual that all therapists use in the state of California to diagnose people. And I'm just gathering 85% of all of the emotional disorders that are in there could be explained by somebody having their identity abused.
Wow.
So I was believing a lie because it felt true.
Yep.
And I went back to my clients and I'm like going, oh my gosh, and I went to the staff of the church that I was at and I'm like on the whiteboard during staff and they're going, oh, look at this and look at this. And do you believe we're believing lies? And, and all of my clients were making all this progress. And, I thought, well, how do I create a program that I can just walk people through this? And so I sat and thought, okay, I have predominantly Christian clients. And I thought, how do I take their faith system and a clinical system? What would it have to do to walk them out of this identity abuse? And so I created a program and which you can find on my website, but I also created did it in person originally. So like this just going to the church and open the doors and doing this thing. And I thought, well, how do I do this then so that more people can see it? So I was just starting to get into the idea of coaching. And I thought, well, I could do coaching on that. And so I made little videos for each one and I put it online. And then it just kind of grew from there. And I do all this kind of stuff. The basic thing that it covers is that you have a unique identity that is valuable, and that you're going to hear lies about that every day. And then you get to choose what you believe about yourself. And so this is what I use, the basic overarching themes of what I use to help people to be able to be, healthier in no matter what area of your life. It can be in your personal relationships as well as your business relationships. All of that can be impacted by identity abuse. So that's what I teach about mostly.
Awesome. That is amazing. And that is something probably no one ever really thinks about. Identity abuse. There's all different types of abuse out there for sure. But that one probably comes up, very little, very little.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Most people have not, like I said, because as a professional, I'd never even thought about putting those two words together. And once I did, and I started sharing it, I realized there's so many people that those two words set them free by just speaking those two words. And I'm really going, oh, wow, because people will own their damage, right? They'll own it and say, I'm damaged, instead of saying somebody gave me something that's damaged my sense of self, and I can choose to give it back, in theory, right?
Yeah.
And the first time I did a professional speaking engagement, I was in a speaking competition, and it was the first time I told that story about my dad on the couch and mentioned identity abuse. And you could just hear all the people in the crowd go, like they were recognizing that's what it was.
Resonated with them. Yes, for sure. Wow, that is really, really good. What is something that maybe some people may misunderstand about what you do?
Oftentimes, one of the interesting things is I will teach people the difference between facts and feelings. And I'll say, there's the facts and the truth, and then there's how you feel about stuff.
Right.
And people will often say that I'm trying to negate feelings, or that feelings aren't valuable, or, they'll kind of go down that road. And it's like, no, it's learning how to understand your feelings, talk about your feelings, and then respond wisely and not react out of emotion. And that's not necessarily saying that the emotions don't matter, or there's going to be times when you're scared and you grab your kid out of the street, right? Exactly. And that's a healthy reaction. But then there's other times when somebody says something crass or rude to you, and then you respond to that, or they beg you, or they make you feel guilty, and you respond out of that. That's when you need to learn how to have a healthy self-esteem and respond from wise places. So people will often misunderstand that aspect of it.
Okay. So that's a good way to misunderstand something as well. Mm-hmm. What is the number one takeaway your clients experience by working with you?
That their uniqueness is valuable.
Wow.
Uniqueness is valuable.
That is good. And we all have a uniqueness, whether we actually, realize it or not. Some people may not, but we all do. Right.
Can I share something with you real quick?
Yes, please.
Okay, so this will kind of explain it. And this just came to mind now, so I wasn't planning on doing this.
That's fine.
This is how we often feel. Okay, so I feel inadequate, right? So this is the feelings of inadequacy, or the feelings of self-doubt, or the feelings of failure. Like I'm a failure, and it feels like it just owns you. I'm so dumb, right? This is how you feel, and but this is what is true. I am having a feeling.
Wow.
I am having a feeling. If you say, "Wow, there's that feeling again," what am I going to do with that? And in this moment of time where you recognize and you label the feeling, that gives you the option of deciding how you're going to react to it. If you say, wow, I didn't expect that. This is what I taught one of my clients the other day to respond. It's like, I wasn't expecting that. Let me get back to you. So when you're having that feeling and you're afraid you're going to respond poorly, you just say, wow, and recognize there's that feeling again, and say, I wasn't expecting that. So this is what the way it feels. I'm dumb, I'm incompetent, I'm afraid I'm going to be stupid, they're going to judge me. And I'm just having that feeling. So hopefully that helps somebody just really understand that.
Oh, that's awesome. And a good way to explain that as well. Yes. Thank you for that. What about your family? Are you still close? I know you shared your story in the very beginning. Are you still close with your father and the rest of your family?
Oh, so what I should say is about 13 years, I usually say this, when about 13 years later, when the police came knocking on my door, I was able to speak up and tell the truth that my dad did go to jail. Sadly, though, he went on to molest other people and he wasn't in jail for a very long time. And that was a different era, which that wouldn't happen today. And I was actually adopted by those people. So I will tell people, yes, I was adopted by a child molester. It's not a great thing. And both of my brothers I was raised with were also adopted. None of us were biologically related. And the only one that's still surviving is one of my brothers. I went on to find my biological family. And I found it was really kind of interesting. I found my biological mom when I was 35, and she went on to get married. Her and my dad were not married. They were both teenagers, very young. And she went on to get married and had 3 more kids. And my dad had, I think, 8 more kids. So I'm the oldest of 12 between the 2 of them. So I haven't met them all yet. I just found my dad about 3 years ago. So it's still been a journey of discovery. Yeah.
That is awesome. That's an awesome, awesome story. For real. Okay. So if someone wants to contact you, what's the best way for them to do that? If they would like to hear more.
I think if they went to my website, which is fishing4truth.com, that would be a place where they would see the array of things that I do. And also the videos. There's a speaker training video right on the homepage, and there's a story about the uniqueness of who you are the day that God made you, which is really validating how unique you are and the value and just the value of your uniqueness. So many people can't receive that. And that's probably the best way to really discover what you're looking for. And there's a contact me page there as well.
Awesome. How'd you come up with that name? I like it. Fishing for Truth.
Well, I'm addicted to fishing. I just really like it. And so, and being a pastor is like, okay, well, fishing for men, that kind of thing. And believe it or not, it was my mom. I was literally fishing in a float tube in one of the Sierra Lakes, and I'm just paddling around, and I was on the phone with my mom. Don't ask me why. But she says, what about the name Fishing for Truth? And my mom's an atheist, by the way. So, the whole thing is just kind of really funny the way and I thought, well, it sounds great. And I can tie them all together. And the website was available. So I thought, well, let's just go for it.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So how long have you been doing this?
So formally doing the coaching only 3 years this month. I actually started in September 3 years ago, right before COVID, and resigned from the church where I was at to go fully online. So all of the things that I do are fully online. And it's only been 3 years.
So you're not currently in a church anywhere?
I'm physically attending a church, but I'm not on staff. I mean, in service at the church, but this is considered a ministry because
Awesome. This is so amazing. I guess share any other insights that you may want to share with our audience about maybe how they could benefit from working with you.
Well, I was thinking about this predominantly the mindset. So the 4 things inside my coaching program I do is mindset, heart posture, skill set, and mentorship. Those are the 4 things that every influencer needs to have. They need to be able to clearly be able to differentiate between facts and feelings. So that's mindset, all the mindset stuff. And then the second is your heart posture. So regardless of your faith, there's a word for that. I can't recall at the moment. Anyway, regardless of your faith, to be really secure in that, whatever that is, and have your heart in that place where that's all okay. So you have and those are distinctly different things. You have your mind and your emotions, and then you have your spirituality, and then you have your skills. And what I help people do is differentiate those things and being able to be healthy in each one of those, so that when you go and present yourself to somebody, or you're in a conversation with somebody, you're authentic to yourself. You're able to be present with them and not in your head worrying about a ton of stuff. I think the most fun thing I like to do is helping people when they're going on stage to envision the people in the audience, what they're going to be like when they're done relating with you. So they're going to be whatever you're talking about. They're going to see that end product. And so for me, it's like they're going to be confident in themselves. So when I think about everybody in the audience is going to walk away today and just be so secure in who they are. When I focus on that, I don't go on stage afraid because I'm focusing on them. I'm so focused on the excitement about what they're going to experience when they're done. I'm not going up and thinking about myself hardly at all. I mean, I focus on my stuff and I have my things ready, but that really has helped a lot of people be able to be more effective in their presentation. I think the mindset stuff is really the most powerful thing. One of the interesting things that I'm sure most of the people in your audience know, they say, sell them what they want and then give them what they need. And one of the things that I ask people is that when your self-esteem, if you woke up tomorrow with no self-doubt, zero self-doubt, what would be different? What would you notice? And what would you do differently? And invariably they would say, I would have more confidence in this and I'd feel more free and I would stand up for myself. And that's why I had some professional speaker training, because I wanted to go and share about identity abuse to people. So what I did was I took all that speaker training and pulled out of it some of the most important parts, plus my own experience, and added that to my training program in order to be able to help them put it all in together. So they have their mindset and then their spirituality and then their skill set. So that's the skill set I most often focus on is being able to articulate well the message that you've been given.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. What is the most important lesson you've learned over your career as an entrepreneur?
Know my why.
Oh,
Know my why and know my vision. So that was one thing I took notes on is about having a clear vision. And I really didn't understand that. It was really kind of a messy vision. I knew that identity abuse was setting people free and I wanted to help people. But everybody could say, everybody needs to hear this. And I'm like, yes, I know. And they would say it over and over and over again. And I'm like, but I need to find a niche, and they're like, oh, everybody needs to hear this. I'm like, you're not helping. So having that clear vision of, okay, I'm going to start here, right? I'm going to start here. And if more people hear, great. Right. And I predominantly have in-person speaking engagements for the Christian community, but I'll accept speaking engagements really from anybody who thinks identity abuse knowledge is going to help their audience to overcome insecurity. I don't care who it is. My goal 10 years ago was to make identity abuse a household phrase as common as sexual abuse and physical abuse by the year 2025. I'm a little behind the game, but I'm working hard at it. And I think
too, it's not, a lot of people may have issues with actually thinking that they have had identity abuse.
Well, what I realized was, like, what the training program that I went through, the guy is a multimillionaire, and he would say, yeah, right before I get on live every time, I think, why am I doing this? I shouldn't be here. And there's an acquaintance who works with like lots of famous people, and interviewed a lot of people on national TV. And she said that as soon as it was over, invariably they would say, was that okay? Did I come across stupid? I mean, it was like everybody has this problem. And I thought, we can so easily rectify that by understanding that our uniqueness is valuable. When we understand that my uniqueness is intentional, it's intentional to go and flavor the world with my uniqueness. And when you've got past that, and then you say, okay, now I have this gift of whatever it is, whatever you teach about or coach about or whatever, this is the gift that I have to go out into the world. When you get out of the mind junk and then you go do that thing, if you have a clear vision of where you're headed, then you're going to be able to say, no, this is what I'd like to say. You can have a strong no when you have a clearer yes. So when you know what your yes is and you have a clear vision, you can say no to that, no to that, no to that, and you can feel good about it. Because I get people all the time saying, oh, you should care more about this. Or you could, especially in the world today where everybody has everything that we all should be worried about.
Yes.
It's like,
yes,
that's your thing. This is my thing. And I can confidently say no, not that I don't care. I just don't care as much as you.
You're happy to support them as they do it.
Yes, I will support you. I will. Yeah, absolutely. And yet I know what my yes is. I know what my yes is. And I will be more effectual with my yes when I say no to the things that are distracting me from that. And I like, somebody said this, I don't remember where I saw it, but Martin Luther King didn't say, I have a plan today.
No.
He said, I have a dream today. And he had a vision. And his vision was very clear that children of all colors would be able to be judged by the content of their character. That's a very clear vision.
Yes.
And when we have that, then we can say no to the things that are distracting us from that. So I think,
And
yeah,
each individual person's character is different.
yes, intentionally. So being able to have that clarity of vision, I think, is the most important thing. It was very relieving for me to be able to know that it was okay for me to say this thing right here, and then follow hard after that. It was very relieving. Yeah, it cleaned up a lot of the messiness of a lot of the stuff that I did.
Absolutely. Wow, that is so, so amazing. So, what is a big pet peeve for you?
Wow. People who wow.
Sorry, didn't mean to stump you there.
Yeah. I would say a pet peeve is people who say they want to change but don't want to work hard. I you know, I don't want to say that in a negative way, where if you struggle, but if you don't work hard, I mean, if you're not genuinely serious about wanting to move forward, there's a difference between I'm intimidated and I can't believe it for myself. I will come alongside of you and believe it for you until you believe it for yourself.
Right.
But there's been people, especially as a therapist over the years, it was trendy for the teens to go into therapy and say, oh yeah, I'm into therapy. And I don't, for people who are into coaching, I will honestly tell people this: you are wasting your money and my time. If you're not, that's not what I'm about. I'm not just here to make money. I'm here to help people. And there's too many people out there who genuinely want help to maintain a relationship like that.
Oh, that's good. Very good. Awesome. So, what time of day do you get your best work done?
Crack it on.
You're early bird.
I really am. I don't think, I mean, I'll stay up late, but I'm just staying up late just because I'm staying up late, but it's not good for anybody. My older daughter will call me when it's really, I tell everybody, don't call me after 9 p.m. I won't answer the phone. My oldest daughter always calls me after 9 p.m. because she says, you're so funny when you're tired, Mom.
That's when she has her best conversation with you.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Again, everyone, if you would like to connect with Pastor Elaine, go to her website, right? That's the best place.
Yes.
Are you on LinkedIn as well?
I am on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. Pastor Elaine, or the Pastor Elaine on Instagram. So yeah, I can be found on all social media platforms. And honestly, if you just really want to get a better idea of what I do, the website will have a really broad range of things and resources, and it has links to my YouTube channel and everything on it. Yeah. Fishing, the number 4, Fishing for Truth.
Fishing for Truth. I really love that name. That's so cool.
Thank you.
So reach out and connect with Dr. Elaine on all the social platforms. Go check her out on her website, learn more. And if you're interested in working with her, I'm sure she would love to have a conversation with you.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you. And until next month, guys, I'll see you again with another episode of Tiger Eye Talk. Thanks for being here.